Now, just as of recently, I changed my mind when it comes to the monthly paying dividend stock Realty Income, ticker symbol O, which happens to be one of the first ever dividend stocks I purchased in my portfolio, I think around 8 or so years ago now, and a stock that I've been building up a position in for several years to the point to where, as of right now, I have over 2,700 shares across my portfolio. Now, up until recently, I've been pretty much a perma bull when it comes to ticker symbol O, buying shares consistently whether the price is up or whether it's down. But just over the past several days and several weeks, I've been changing my mind when it comes to the longer term outlook of this REIT. So if you want to know what I personally am planning on doing when it comes to ticker symbol O for the long term, what I'm going to do with my shares, etc., make sure to stick around, drop a link down below, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the market. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, in the hopes of not wasting anyone's time, I want to get this out of the way right away. Even though I changed my mind about certain aspects about Realty Income, I still love this REIT and still do believe in it long term. So don't get it twisted. I'm not going to be flash selling my shares off for a discount, because let's be real here, Realty Income has sold off quite a bit as of recently. But there are certain aspects about this REIT that I am pretty bearish on moving forward, and I definitely have as of recently changed my consistent buying patterns when it comes to this stock. Now, to paint a better picture, I think it's important that we should go through the earnings call that happened just a few days ago, just to get everyone up to speed. Maybe you guys have been busy and missed out on what happened over the last few days, but the most recent Realty Income earning actually told us a lot about the stock, where it's at, and maybe what we should know moving forward. So listen in, it says Realty Income, a real estate investment trust, has reported a strong third quarter in 2024, with disciplined execution and diversified portfolio driving growth. The company increased its investment volume guidance for the year to approximately $3.5 billion, supported by robust acquisition in the third quarter. The company's CEO, Sumit Roy, announced a significant growth in AFFO per share and the establishment of a private capital fund targeting institutional investors. Realty Income maintains a high occupancy rate across its portfolio and anticipates continued growth through strategic investments in various sectors. Now, some key takeaways from the earnings. This is important. Realty Income increased its 2024 investment volume guidance to $3.5 billion, with a $740 million invested in Q3 at a 7.4% initial cash yield. The company's AFFO per share grew by 2.9% year over year to $1.05. A diversified real estate portfolio includes over 15,400 properties with a 98.7% occupancy rate. Plans to establish a capital fund for institutional investors expected to enhance revenue without impacting the balance sheet. Q3 acquisitions focused on long-term IRR, with $1.3 billion in acquisitions expected in Q4. Non-cash charge of $63 million related to convenience store client, with the company optimistic about recouping rents. The new fund will expand the investable universe and address capacity issues, leveraging existing staff and infrastructure. Realty Income has pre-funded its Q4 needs, indicating a strong financial position and historical spreads. Now, the company outlook says Realty Income aims to maintain a strategic balance between public and private investments to maximize shareholder returns. The anticipated $1.3 billion in Q4 transactions aligns with historical norms and is pre-funded, showing independence from public market funding. Now, some of the bearish highlights: a $63 million non-cash charge was recorded due to accounting adjustments with a convenience store client, reflecting potential challenges. Expense leakage guidance increased from 1.1% to 1.35%, attributed to deferred expenses and carry cost of vacant assets. So as you can see, it was a pretty eventful earnings. A few of the biggest takeaways was probably the fact that there has been a little bit of an increase when it comes to leakage guidance, but still nothing necessarily to worry about. And overall, even with some of the bearish highlights, I still think Realty Income is poised to do very, very well moving forward overall, although Realty Income is still facing certain headwinds. Now, this is another thing that a lot of investors are talking about, kind of confused about: the plans to establish a private capital fund for institutional investors expected to enhance revenue without impacting the balance sheet. Now, there's been other REITs in the past that have done similar things, and I think if anything, this could enhance Realty Income as a company overall. So at this point, you're probably still wondering, well, what are you concerned about when it comes to Realty Income? Why did you change your mind moving forward? And exactly what is your plan going to be personally moving forward, in case you guys are interested? So up until this point, pretty much over the last 7 or 8 years, I've been buying ticker symbol O consistently, whether it's on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, just slowly adding to my pile of shares, which as of right now is the second largest holding across my entire 7-figure portfolio, number one being my 1,001 shares of Apple stock. And the reason being is that I do want more exposure to high quality real estate. I personally do invest in real estate outside the stock markets, and I'm very bullish on real estate generally speaking. And by investing into shares of Realty Income, you are, with a click of the button, getting exposure to a high quality commercial real estate portfolio with names like Dollar General, Wynn Resorts, etc., etc. Now that brings me to one of the first reasons on what I'm sort of worried about when it comes to Realty Income. I do really want to see the client diversification, top 20 client list, change over the next year or so. Now, this is something that I've talked about many times in previous videos over the past several years actually, saying that although I don't love the top client diversification list when it comes to Realty Income's portfolio, I was pretty bullish on the fact that Realty Income was going to clean this up over the last year or so and maybe get some of their properties leased out to some higher quality tenants. Now, there's definitely some high quality tenants in the top 20 list. There's tons of them honestly in this list. But there's also names in this list that, again, long term, I don't necessarily know if I want any more exposure to. Now that, along with the fact that Realty Income over the past 5 or so years now is in the red. And although for me personally, I've been lucky enough to sell covered calls on my shares of Realty Income. So I personally, as an investor, have actually done pretty well with Realty Income net, because when you're selling covered calls, generally speaking, you basically want your investment, the underlying, to trade sideways, if not down a little bit, which is exactly what Realty Income has done over the last 5 years. It's basically the exact time that I started selling covered calls across my shares of Realty Income quite a bit. Now, to be completely transparent, I don't sell covered calls on all my shares of Realty Income. So as of right now, on some tranches of Realty Income, I am in the red, and this is over the last 5 or so years. Now, keep in mind, after all the dividends I've been paid over time, Realty Income has still, without a doubt, been a bad investment whatsoever for my long-term portfolio. But moving forward, I am going to change things, and here's the announcement right here. Up until this point, like a lot of you guys have known, I have been buying more Realty Income shares to my portfolio, like I said, on a weekly or monthly basis. And I really can't remember a time in history since I started investing where Realty Income has not been in my activity tab as far as some buys go. But as of now, moving forward, whether Realty Income trades upwards from here, whether it trades sideways, or even if it trades down, I personally am no longer going to buy any more Realty Income shares, and I'm just going to hold on to the shares that I have as of right now. My 2,711 shares of Realty Income are going to stay in my portfolio, at least as far as I know as of right now. But as of right now, I'm personally done adding more shares to my portfolio, and this is again whether the stock price goes down further from here. And this is simply for a few reasons. I want to see how Realty Income plays out as far as their top client diversification over the next year or two. I really want to see some different names end up in this top client diversification list. There are names in this list, I think you and I know all of them, that we're a little bit more worried about than others. Not to mention, this is more just for me specifically, but with 2,700 plus shares of Realty Income and the size of my long-term portfolio, I think I'm just sort of maxed out as far as the position goes at this point, and I don't necessarily think I need to add another single share from here. Now, along with that, just to be critical, Realty Income has traded sideways and down over the past 5 or so years, and that's basically ever since I started buying shares of it, which again, I have done quite well because of covered calls, but if it weren't for that, it would be a whole different story. Now, the last reason I'm changing my mind moving forward with Realty Income is simply just because I think there's better investment opportunities out there for exactly what I'm looking for. And what I mean by this, as a 32-year-old investor that wants to buy into different stocks and ETFs that have the potential to grow over time, but also pay me a nice amount of dividend and dividend growth also, I think that by buying ETFs like SCHD and or other covered call style ETFs like JEPQ, I think I can personally deploy my capital in better ways at this point to receive yield, dividend growth, along with the potential for capital appreciation better. Now, like I said, my 2,711 shares of Realty Income are going nowhere anytime soon, at least up until this moment, and they're still going to be paying me upwards of $700 per month in dividends. But moving forward, my position at this point is going to be pretty much locked out at 2,711 shares unless something changes moving forward, and we're just going to have to see how this plays out. So now that we talked about ticker symbol Realty Income, we went over the earnings report that, although was pretty bullish, had some bearish aspects also. And I share with you guys my personal plan moving forward with Realty Income and how it's going to be changing from this point. I lastly want to hear from you guys down below. As of right now, are you personally bullish on Realty Income? Are you bearish? Either comment bull or bear in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.